Hello and welcome everybody to New Earth Consciousness. Tanya here, and uh, today I'm interviewing Mary Scalise. Her website is maryscalise.com, and you'll see it in the comments there. And so anyway, I'm Mary. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And so just so everybody knows what we're going to be getting into, Mary is a medium. She's a medical intuitive and she also does past life regression. So everything to do with the unseen, which is my favorite realm to talk about. So um, yeah, so let's dive into it. Where should we start? You have so many gifts, I guess let me ask this, like how how did you find yourself in this field? Was it always a gift that you had, or was there, you know, something that drew you to it, or a certain event? Like, what's your story?
Yes, I could see, you know, people on the other side, deceased loved ones from when I was a younger
Well,
child. And my mom remembers, me saying, I could see people. And so she was really sweet about it and supportive. But that, kind of fell away as I got older. And it's something that started to come back after I had my children.
interesting.
And I just, yeah, I was thinking about it last night. We had a series of road trips that took us through Arizona and New Mexico. And for some reason, when we were there in Arizona, I started to be able to see the other side again. And it just hasn't stopped. But the real big thing that happened that really helped me talk about it to other people.
Hmm.
Um, and I was already doing past life regression. I was just always so interested and fascinated by things like that. So I studied hypnotherapy and past life regression. But my father-in-law died about, I can't remember if it was 4 or 5 years ago. And I was sitting in my bedroom 2 days after he passed, and there he was. I could see him. And
Wow.
he just looked so beautiful. He had all these beautiful colors around him. He'd been so ill before he
Wow.
passed, and he looked just whole and incredible. And he could see that I could see him, and
No
he was so
way.
excited. Yeah, so he
Oh,
started talking to me. I thought, oh
oh
my
my
God,
gosh,
I'm
Mary.
going to write this down. So I started to write everything down, and I just hold on a minute, and he just had so much to say. And so I took it to my sister-in-law, and she said, yes, all of that is accurate and true. Even, things I wouldn't know about the family, or, certain jewelry, things I wouldn't know anything about,
Yeah.
was all accurate. So uh,
Wow.
that started me just accepting it, you know.
So yeah, so when you say you could see them like
Mhm.
literally because sometimes when I feel like when people say they see things, it's in their mind's eye, from a psychic
Sure.
perspective.
Yeah.
Was this actually like an apparition? I mean, I know that's real for some people where they actually see the form. How is it that you perceive it? I'm curious.
But it's hard for me to separate whether it's coming through the
Yeah,
psychic vision or
yeah.
not. But I did have an experience when I was, maybe this was like in 2000, where we were moving out of our home,
Mhm.
and I was in our basement, and I could see these two people floating toward me, and it really scared me. But they were just my grandparents checking in on everybody, and they said, and I heard them, we're just checking to make sure everything's okay. It
Uh-huh.
still scared me, but they were so sweet and loving. But I do feel like I saw them with my physical eyes.
Yeah.
So I'm just not sure
It's
anymore if
so
I'm,
interesting. Yeah,
yeah.
that's so interesting. No, I
Mhm.
do think that for some people, the veil's
Yes.
just thin, and so they can see it
Yeah.
with their physical eyes. Yeah, that's so fascinating. So fascinating.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I
Mhm.
remember reading about Rudolf Steiner talked about his perception of, someone who had passed, and it sounded to me like he actually physically saw them, at a young
Mm.
age. I don't know if it was like his aunt who had passed or something like that, and just, having a conversation with her, and then as she moved on.
Mm.
So that's really interesting. I feel like, um, well, I'm curious to know. when some when someone passes the other side, like you said, you saw them all, whole and complete and not ill. Do you feel like what are the for the soul that's passing into the spirit world, like what are some of the changes that happen that you notice?
Oh, that's a really wonderful question. Well, especially for my father-in-law, I mean, he passed away while he was in a hospital, and he'd been so ill just with his lungs, and he looked vibrant. So I could see that vibrancy, and he was standing up tall. He wasn't hunched over, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and with other people, I started doing medium readings once I started to connect into that more, and I, took classes and worked on it. Anybody that had been ill before they'd passed, when I see them, whether, however way I'm seeing
Yeah,
them,
yeah, yeah.
they look wonderful. Absolutely. Let's say like someone that was more weak before they passed, they'll look more strapping, like maybe they had like a man,
Mm-hmm.
it would appear as if he was in his 60s, even if he'd passed, when he was like in his 80s. They kind of, to me, appear in their healthiest form.
The healthiest form. Yeah,
Yeah, healthiest form.
very interesting.
Mhm.
And so through your mediumship, when somebody comes to you and they want to, I guess my question is why does someone want to work with a medium? Why would they want to
Oh,
come to you to ask to connect to someone that they've known?
honestly, just because they miss them and they want to know, is everything okay? Are you okay?
Yeah.
Um, what are you doing? Like, do you have a life? Like, are you watching over me and my children? But a lot of people want like their guidance and advice,
Hmm.
because they have like a bigger picture view, but also they know them. So I do a lot of the year ahead readings where people can get specific guidance on
Yeah.
what's going to happen for them. So I think it's kind of a combination.
Yeah.
Or if they're just maybe having trouble with someone in their life and they want to know, what should I do? Or help me, what would you do? I get that a lot.
Uh-huh. Do you get people that come because maybe, a loved one passed and it was an unresolved
Yeah, for
situation?
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what
Hmm.
would you say, and it's just interesting to me, like people that go through near-death experiences almost consistently, they say, oh, it's nothing but love, and so I'm curious, like if there was some kind of estrangement or something that wasn't resolved
Hmm.
and the person passes, what do you notice changed? Is there just a sense of like them wanting to be more loving, or just all of those issues that had happened in the past are gone away and a deeper wisdom shines forth? Like what? I'm curious.
Sometimes, but not
Sometimes,
always.
not
Yeah, for
always.
sure. Sometimes. There's a client I've worked with for years, and he had a difficult relationship with a family member, but through the years of readings, and he's been meditating, and he'll talk to his loved one on the other side. Their relationship has evolved, and it's so beautiful because now his loved one on the other side is a more evolved version of themselves. So they communicate in just like a much more mature way. It's really cool. But that's someone I've known for a few years.
Yeah.
So sometimes people have, matured, but I think sometimes they also go through a process where they kind of go back into, I'm going to say they're loved by everybody that's over there on the other side, so they can feel better about themselves.
Mm,
And that can take time.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's interesting. That's really cool to hear that just like an earthly relationship, right?
Yeah.
They're always growing and transforming, that can
Yeah.
also happen with somebody on the
Yeah.
other side. That's really
I think
never
so.
heard of it that way. Yeah.
Mm.
Um, and so tell me about the your medical intuition stuff. I know you've got a program that starts tomorrow for women dealing with hormonal issues, right? It's this
Yeah,
healing program.
yeah,
Tell me more about
so
that because I
excited.
feel like, I mean, oh my gosh, I know hormones, women's hormones are so complex. They're so
They are.
complex.
They're so
We go through
complex.
so
Yeah,
many changes and
I know.
and I know a lot of women struggle and, they'll try this thing and that thing, or, maybe their doctor prescribes hormones, or maybe they tried
Yeah,
a certain herb. Like, tell us about
yeah.
how do you work?
Totally. I mean, I'm right there too in that like perimenopause phase. So I'm super interested, but I'm interested in, and I'm going to help these, with these women that we start tomorrow, working on, I want to say like the emotional imbalances that are causing blockages, kind of getting in the way of the stream of hormones. And I can give you an example. It's about myself.
Hmm.
My oldest son, he's a young adult, and I should just start over with last year. There were about 3 times where my cycle wasn't at all on the right track. It wasn't starting. And I thought, okay, this is perimenopause, obviously, right? But I went to a colleague for medical intuition, and every time we would see where my concern and my frustration with my son was literally blocking my flow, flow of
Really?
hormones. Yes, and so every time we kind of dissolved that or removed it from my field, my cycle would start the next day.
That's
And
so
it's just like
crazy.
everything lined back up. And so I
Oh my
thought this is
gosh.
something that's
Yeah.
important, even if it's not a 100% cure. I really believe that, processing the stuff that we hold on to is going to help. And we're going to look at
Yeah.
the whole endocrine system, pituitary, pineal, all that's
Wow.
affecting our flow of hormones because it's all connected. Does that make
Wow.
sense?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I
I feel
love it.
like, I mean, we've heard this before. I mean, especially if you're in this field, like, of course, emotions impact your physical being, but I think we underestimate it. That
Right.
really, I mean, yeah, just what you explained. It's like, yeah, my issues with my son has been causing me to feel not get my hormones flowing. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Um, and so,
Mhm.
yeah, the power of, and I'm guessing you work within the quantum, right? I mean, if energy, the quantum, like it's one and the same, right? As you view it the same way.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
just through the power of intention and so in working with your colleague, and I'm guessing, yeah, what did she see, how does she see it? How does she perceive it? Like, and I guess the process is if you're coming to her and you're like, yeah, my cycle's off and I don't know
Right.
why.
Yes.
She's
What's going
able
on
to
here?
scan and pick up on what it is.
Right. One that I remember clearly, was he was in his energy or, my concern for him was all mixed together in my grounding. So, the biofield, the aura, but then we have this beautiful grounding connecting into the earth. And there was just too much of him. And really my concern for him taking up room. And it was just getting in the way of my first chakra, my second chakra, and the whole
Wow.
the whole system. I've
Wow.
got to blow my nose. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
no
Hold on
problem.
one
I know
second.
you've been under the weather. You're fine.
Oh, thank you. That's
Yeah,
better.
no
Yeah.
problem. Um,
So that
yeah,
was one time. Yes. Mhm.
yeah. And of course, it seems like well, let me ask you this. The deeper the issue, the more chronic it is it necessarily true then that it takes longer to then deal with it? Or are there cases where someone's got something pretty serious and in a relatively short amount of time you're able to bring it back into balance?
I think for something chronic, and I'm working with someone who's had a chronic RA for a couple of years, it
Mhm.
takes time, but also not just me, right? There are so many avenues, lymph and but we can go over all the information, like me and my client. But
Mhm.
there's so much to address: lymph and insulin, and that's, pancreas and the endocrine
Yeah.
system
Yeah, there's so
affecting
much.
the hormones.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I feel like that takes time and it's layered. And there's so many things that someone can do, exercise and changes to their physical diet if needed too.
Yeah. Do
So,
you get those kind
yeah.
of insights too? Like, oh, I
Mhm.
see you need to increase your intake of whatever.
For sure. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That's powerful. Um, I remember, and maybe I shared this with you before, back when I was dealing with my major health issues.
Mhm.
My brother had told me about a medical intuitive, and it was a term I had never heard of. And this was, 20 plus years ago. I was in my 20s. So, and I was like, well, what's a medical intuitive? He's like, well, he can like a psychic, like he can see what's
Mhm.
going on with you. And so I called the guy and arranged for an appointment, and he just very quickly, he was just like, you've got jawbone cavitations in all four sides of your
Yeah.
wisdom teeth, and you have heavy metals in your blood. You have mercury in your blood. And that's what's impacting your digestion. It's impacting you mentally with this depression that you're struggling with. And I was like, what is he talking about? I never jawbone cavitations, my wisdom teeth. He's like, yeah, you need to go see an alternative dentist because regular dentists don't deal with that. They don't, it's not something they look at. They don't even have the
Mhm.
technology. And so I was like, whoa, okay. And so I was living in Arizona at the time. There were only two alternative dentists in the whole state. And so I
Wow.
booked with one, and
Mhm.
they had this ultrasound machine that scans your
Like
jaw.
the cone beam thing? The cone beam?
No, and the cone beam thing I think is a little more advanced than what this was.
Okay.
This was actually ultrasound, so it shows up as a graph with like red, yellow, green, like 3D graph type of thing. So yeah, sure enough, I had jawbone cavitations in all four sites. And
Wow.
I was like, oh my God. Like the fact that that even came in, I mean, I would have never discovered that ever. I go to a
Right.
regular dentist, they're not going to see anything wrong. It
Right.
wasn't like my mouth was infected. I mean, that was the weird thing. I wasn't experiencing any pain. There was no pain, there was nothing. I mean, there wasn't even inflammation. I didn't even know they were there. But those pockets were poisoning my bloodstream and and the other thing he says, yeah, those, your teeth are connected to the meridians. So
Right.
those
Right.
four are connected directly to, I think it was the heart, if I remember right. Don't quote me on that though. So, so yeah, medical intuition, I'm a firm
Mm,
believer.
mm,
In it for sure because I know for myself and my healing journey, part of my frustration is that Western medicine couldn't help me.
mhm.
They would do
Couldn't
blood tests
diagnose
and they're
you.
like, everything's fine. Everything's normal. Go get some anxiety medication. Like you're just crazy or whatever. And I'm like, there's
Right.
something wrong, you know? And so, but it's
Yeah.
hard because when you've got these, the authoritative Western doctor just saying you're fine, and you're like, okay, well, this doesn't make any sense. Why am I dealing with chronic fatigue? Why am I, you know, I've got digestive issues, like all this stuff. Like, you can't just tell me it's in my head. I mean, certainly there was emotional stuff that I had to deal with,
Go through. Hmm.
but there was definitely something going on. Like, what came first, the chicken or the egg, right? Was it,
Right.
yeah. So anyway, yeah,
So I'm so curious, how did you help? Like, how did that get resolved for you? And was it quick? Was it like a year? Like, how did that go
yeah.
for
Oh
you?
gosh, it was a long journey. So I went, saw a dentist. He did the procedure on all four sites. But what he did is he put in a bovine bone graft into all
Hmm.
four, which I was like, okay, you're the doctor. Sure, sounds good. Um, and I came home about a year later. I was starting to feel unwell again. And I went to a naturopath. She's like, your white blood cells are elevated. You've got some kind of infection. And
Oh,
immediately I knew, I was like, it came back. So I moved to Washington, and my husband has a dentist that he trusts in Spokane, so we went to him. And he rescanned. He's like, "Yep, you got cavitations in all four of your wisdom." I bawled my eyes out in the chair. I just wept. I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" Because it is a horrific procedure, let me tell you. It is not fun. Like you're not put under, you're just numbed, and they're just drilling into your jawbone, if you can imagine. Anyway, I'd rather give birth, honestly. So, so
at home naturally. Yeah.
yeah. So anyway, and I asked him, I said, well, why? He says, well, you had the bovine bone grafts. He says, it's basically a 50-50 chance that your body rejects it.
Oh,
And I was like, well, then why would they do that? He says, because they can charge more money. And I was so livid. I was like, you got to be kidding me. He's like, yeah, you don't need it. You don't need it. Your body will heal itself. So anyway, yeah, it definitely shifted my digestion. My body definitely detoxed. I kind of broke out in acne. I remember breaking out
mm,
a bunch of pimples and like my body detoxing. And um, yeah, it was quite the journey. And then, of course, then I had to deal with the
wow.
heavy metals. So I had to do like EDTA chelation for 9 months. And it
Right,
was not a quick fix for
right.
sure, but I honestly think had I not had it done, who knows? I'm sure I'd be much worse off. It would have just continued.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wreaking that silent havoc. I mean, it
Yeah.
was a silent problem,
It was a
even though
silent
you felt
problem.
it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. No, I couldn't locate where it was coming from or why. So I would say to
That's a good
anybody watching
story.
this, if you've got issues and you've seen the doctors and you're not getting answers, definitely call up Mary, get a medical intuitive session, and yeah, it's definitely a real thing. I wish
Mm.
I wish all doctors took medical intuitive training. Like
Wouldn't that
why
be
not?
fascinating?
Wouldn't that be
Yeah.
amazing? I know that anthroposophical medicine, I think
Oh,
they
yeah.
do take on some kind of at least
Hmm.
meditative training. Like I think they're required to meditate on their patients and gain insights and things. So it's not just about the tests, what do the
Right,
tests say? Because oftentimes the tests are not going to show what's going on.
right.
Yeah, it's all
I feel
energy.
like some doctors are, I'm sorry, I
No, no,
interrupted.
no, you didn't. You're fine.
I feel like some doctors use their intuition. They just don't say it. You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
might be using it. One of my kids just came home.
Oh, hey there.
Um, okay, yeah, I kind of lost my train of thought,
Oh, you're
but
okay. But yeah, that there are doctors that are intuitive, certainly. Definitely.
yeah, they
Yeah,
just probably wouldn't say it out loud.
yeah. The intuitive ones are the best. Um, yeah, and so um let's talk about the past life regression stuff.
Oh, okay, sure.
I'm really curious.
Yeah.
Like, are you in touch with your past lives?
I have done a lot of I've done a lot of past life regression for myself. Yeah, it's so fun. It
Yeah, I'm
helps, you
curious.
know.
Share with us.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I know
Okay.
just for fun, like what are some of the lives that you've known that you've had?
Oh, okay. So, oh gosh, I gotta think about that. I've definitely had some with my family and a lot because I was working a lot on kind of my relationship with my oldest son. I looked at a lot of past lives and we just had so many conflicts. So it makes a lot of sense. We're just playing out something similar now. And I'm so glad that I could shift my part in that. And, he's worked on his own
Yeah,
shift as well. So we're
yeah,
in a really wonderful place of relating, and I'm so happy about that. Um, but just we had a lot of lives as brother, sister, or um, this one life where he was my son, and it just makes me laugh because it's similar to me now in a way. But
Yeah.
I was someone that was into herbs and herbal medicines, and we lived on like, the edge of a commune type existence. And my son was mortified, and we don't live like that now, but he was so mortified about that. He wanted to be part of like regular town people. And one day he just left and I couldn't find him. We didn't know where he was. He was a young man, young adult. And so I went looking for him and found him in town at a tavern. And this sounds so wild, but in this life I saw where he pointed me out and the townspeople came after me. And it was just a hard existence after that. So
Wow.
we've replayed,
Yeah.
certain situations where he's frustrated and, I'm just the mom trying to do what
Yeah.
I think is
Trying to do
best. And
good.
so,
Yeah.
yeah, it's so funny. So, yeah, now we're in a good place.
That's so fascinating. I
Yeah.
remember when I do family constellations, it's not doesn't happen all the time, but sometimes past life stuff comes up of what is causing the disturbance. And yeah,
Hmm.
it's super interesting. I remember
Oh, yeah.
once before I got into family constellations work, and this was when my husband and I we were, in the beginning of our relationship, was before we were married, and um I remember waking up one morning and saying to him, "Yeah, I had the most interesting dream. Like I dreamt that I was in the like you were in the Civil War and I was, you know, connected to you somehow in that time." And he says, "Oh yeah, I," and he knew. He's like, "Yeah, no, I definitely have had a past life in the Civil War." Like he knew exactly, and
Oh,
so I just thought that was so interesting, super
it is.
interesting. Um,
I
yeah,
love
all
that.
that karma, it's like working through
Yes.
through the karma. Yeah.
A lot of people, a lot of my clients have been a warrior in some way, in some war. There have been so many, some
So many,
we
right?
have no knowledge of because I had a client
Yeah, we
who
don't know. It's like I
we don't
remember
know.
I had a dream once and in this dream I was a Native American and it was
Yeah.
so the grief I was experiencing was excruciating. I had and it was interesting and it was very clear. I had this role where it was my job after a battle and there were, dead people that I
Mm-hmm.
had to
Mm-hmm.
go and collect the souls in my basket and release, help them go to the other
Come
side.
on.
And I just
Mm.
thought like, wow, like where does that come from?
Would
Super
we ever
interesting.
read about that? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, I
Oh,
should
Tanya.
look into it. I never went deeper into it, but I just thought, wow, that was intense.
Yeah, it
How
sounds
did
like it.
Yeah, well, and so like these past lives, I think that just so the audience knows, I wonder, do you ever feel that sometimes people that are like that trying to go down the path of like, oh, what are all my past lives can be what's the word? A distraction potentially? Like
Sure.
I feel like
Hmm.
if people are just so fascinated about past lives that they lose sight of like, well, you're living in this
Oh,
life.
I see.
Do
I
you know what I
see.
mean? Like, I don't know, do you ever get those kind
Yeah.
of clients that were just like, I want to do another one just because it's so interesting, and I want to know more. I don't know.
That would have been me. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been me in the beginning. It's so fascinating.
Yeah.
But usually when I work with people, we're trying to figure out, why they're really defensive or really reactive, whether it's like at home or at work, like why are they walking around with two swords, right, ready to do battle. And usually because they have unresolved things from battles before, from some sort of life where
Yeah.
they were in a very similar role and they're just trying to, gosh, like overcome it so they can not be so reactive. That's kind of my main
That's the
client for past life
reason. So when
regression.
people come to you that I've got
Yes.
this issue, well, let's do past life regression,
Yeah.
see if we can let it
Yes.
go or let it heal. Do you ever find that in doing past life regressions that sometimes it's like on a different planet?
It's happened.
Yeah.
Yes, it's happened before.
Yeah,
Yep.
I was curious.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
even as like an animal, for example, like past life. Has
Oh,
that
I
ever
haven't
come up?
had that.
No?
Oh, no. That'd be interesting
Curious.
though.
Yeah, I was just curious. I had
Hmm.
a friend who said that she had a very vivid experience of having a past life as a wolf, which I thought was really interesting.
Wow. That would
Yeah,
be interesting.
yeah. This was
I'd
curious
like to hear
about
that
her.
story. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Have you ever had past life regression?
No,
Oh.
not like formally, like not like, oh, let's go through a session. It's usually um it's just been in dreams where I have like a very clear sense. Like I know for like my husband and I, and this is something that
Mhm.
I feel like we've had to work through in this life, even this theme of in a past life, I was like his assistant. And he was like this brainiac of a guy, like doing serious research, and I was just the lackey assistant.
Mm.
And I remember the feeling in the dream was like I was so frustrated because he wasn't seeing me and like my contribution because I was just the
Oh.
lowly assistant or whatever. But I was like,
Oh.
oh, but I have like something to contribute to your work and like whatever. And
Oh.
he's just
Yeah.
like, buried in his books and whatever. And that's something that's come up in this life where it's just like, he's in charge of the farm and I'm
Hmm.
like, oh, but this could happen and just sort of that like
Yes.
butting heads in that way. I'm like,
Hmm.
oh, there it is. We're working through it.
Coming
He's
back.
become more humble, I will say.
Love that.
So we're working through it for sure. Yeah.
So sweet.
Yeah. So is it like
That's
through
funny.
hypnosis? Is it through hypnosis
Yes,
they do the
it's
past
through
life?
hypnosis. Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it. It's a wonderful tool. It's always so interesting, and it's just fascinating what people end up seeing and how they relate it to their life now. And, people end up leaving their job or getting a better job because they can see, oh,
I'm
this is
just
just like
playing the
that.
same pattern.
Yes, and I
Wow.
don't I don't need to keep going down this road. I
Wow.
deserve better or whatever it is that
Wow.
they're looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So really life changing.
Yeah, it can be so
Yeah.
life-changing.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Amazing.
sure. I
Yeah.
know. It's so fun.
Yeah. Do you ever share this like how do your kids feel about all this stuff that you do? I'm curious.
Well, my older two have let me practice on them. Like back in the day when I was practicing a ton, they would let me practice past life on them. And so it was really interesting because I felt like every time, like life they saw really just made sense as
Mm.
to who they are now. One of them was drowning, which was really sad. And that was just like the bit he saw, but he kept seeing himself in New York as like this young businessman, and it just fits him to a T. Um, and my older son was constantly in conflict, and that just fits him to a T. So it's just fascinating,
Oh wow.
Yeah,
That
I
is super
know.
interesting.
Yeah, yeah. He had some interesting ones, like um, suddenly waking up and seeing himself in like this kind of destruction, like in the midst of a war, but he survived. And it's just, he's a cancer survivor. So to me, it just makes a lot of sense,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
what he's working on. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
But I find it's helpful because then I can view that we're having these long-term relationships and it's not just right now. Uh, we've
Yeah.
got time to like work things out and,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that because that's something that I hold as a perspective too that I've had to um, remind myself. I always felt when I was younger that there wasn't enough time. I always felt
mm,
that there's just not enough time for me to
yes,
accomplish things. Like I always
yeah.
was rushing or trying to hurry, and
Hmm.
um, when you re wow, snow. Sorry, the snow just. Did you hear that?
Snow?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
snow just went. Okay,
Oh,
fell
I
off
did
the
hear
roof.
that. Yeah.
Anyway, um, what was I saying?
Not enough time.
Yeah, the not enough time piece, and then realizing like, oh well, we are infinite. And
Yeah.
so to alleviate ourselves from the pressure of thinking we have to figure it all out in this one life, um, is very freeing. It's like that,
Mhm.
just knowing that we all, I feel like for whatever reason, we come into this life and we have our limitations and personal limitations, and we have our gifts, and that's how it's meant to be. Like,
Mm.
we don't come here perfected,
Right.
so yeah,
I
yeah,
love that.
yeah, yeah. And there's more than enough time with each other, our relationships, our purpose. Yeah, all of that. Yeah, very
I
cool.
agree. Yeah.
Um,
Mm.
so share with the audience, like, how can they find you? What do you have going on right now? I mean,
Sure.
obviously we talked about the hormone program.
Yeah, the hormone program, it's just 4 weeks, and I know I'll do it again because it's going to be, amazing. And so people can find me on Facebook, Mary Scalise Becker, and maryscalise.com, my regular website.
Hmm.
Can email me from there, or message me on Facebook. But um, I think that's it. Yeah. But what
Perfect.
else I've got going on? One of the things I've been doing is like medium readings for a year ahead, this month and maybe next month, because it's so nice to get people set up, for knowing what's to come, or asking, should I take this trip, etc. Um, Medium and psychically. And then just in general with the medical intuition, I've been helping people a lot with their aura, their biofield, and kind of shoring it up, um, making it nice and strong. So, post holidays, they can, get rid of like the arguments that might have happened, or any frustrations or
Yeah,
stress, from
yeah,
making everything happen. That's been wonderful. So those
yeah.
are all available.
Beautiful. Mary, I just have so much respect for you and your work,
Mm,
and
so sweet.
um, yeah, and the depth that you carry, and you are definitely gifted, and
Thanks, Tony.
you're one of the genuine gems, I'll say, there's yeah, so you're definitely
Mm,
somebody I highly recommend. So
That's so
yeah,
sweet. Thank you.
yeah, you're
I can't
welcome.
believe we've
And
been talking this whole time. It just flew by.
I know, I
I'm
know.
just looking at the clock.
It's already almost 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Thank you.
everyone that's watching this, please, if there's anybody that you know of that you think would benefit from this conversation and this
Mm.
information, please share, please like and subscribe. And thank you all so much for joining us. And thank you, Mary.
Thank you, Tanya. I appreciate it.
All right.
Thanks.
Bye, bye everyone.
Okay, take care. Bye.